Welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. Folks, we've been talking a while that the digital world is loud and crowded. That's why you need some experts like the folks at Oak City Tech on your side to help you get found, help you grow your business, and help you get your message out. So go to oakcitytech.com, tell them what you're looking for. I know they'll be able to help you. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning, and each week on Triangle BNI, we bring you a local small business success story. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle is Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. Each week, about 30 chapters and almost 600 members get together, and our job is to help each other grow their business. And our small business success story today is Turner Walton with McClintock Insurance Agency. Turner, how are you today?
Doing great, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here today. I pronounced McClintock right, correct?
McClintock, yeah, you got
Okay,
it.
good deal. And Turner is in RD01, the Chapel Hill Business Leaders. They meet Wednesdays at 10 a.m. It's still Zoom right now. When we do get cleared, and I'm done guessing when that's going to be, I've given up and figure we'll get a call one day. But you guys meet at the Casual Pint in Chapel Hill.
That's right. I've been there 5 or 6 times, and then the rest has all been Zoom.
So if anybody in the Chapel Hill area wants to meet some good go-getters and some good small business owners, please join them. And again, Wednesday at 10 a.m. via Zoom. We can help you get that link if you are interested. All right, got a number of things going on in your life, Turner. You're relatively new. Well, actually, what are you, a year? Coming up a little over a year in BNI, right?
A little over a year in BNI, that's
All
right.
right. So what got you to the Chapel Hill Business Leaders?
Working with Steve Hand, trying to find the right group. When you become a new insurance agent, that's always encouraged. Find a BNI, get that property and casualty insurance agency so that you can have a kind of a built-in network, which is what BNI is. But you need to meet mortgage lenders. You need to meet realtors so that you can be referral partners. And BNI is a really easy, natural way to do that. Looked around for a long time, visited some groups, and finally found an opening in Chapel Hill, and it's been really great.
And you handle what we call in BNI the P&C seat, the property and casualty insurance seat. Before we get to that for a second, what kind of effect has COVID had in business in general, in the office, you changing jobs, everything like that?
It's been difficult, and really, from the beginning, COVID has only affected us as much as we want to let it, beyond just the regulations. But even before lockdowns, even before mandates of masks and social distancing were kind of mandated, it was how comfortable am I? And for me, it was a lot of unknowns, especially at the beginning a year ago. Do we go anywhere? Do we do anything? Is my daughter's preschool going to be open with my wife and I both working from home? I've never been the kind of guy who's like, the wife takes care of the child. When you got a child at home and she's 3 or 2, as she was, and needs to be entertained, you really have to do a tag team act and a dance. And so I spent several weeks at home trying to work, but I'm also not visiting with people face to face. I'm also not going into people's homes to inspect. I'm not having face to face life insurance appointments. It's been critical, and I'll tell you this: BNI has been a lifesaver, because just when I'm a little over 2 years into my insurance career, I'm finally making those connections with lenders and realtors, and everybody plays the marketing game. Go out and give out chocolates, give out gift cards, take donuts to the office, and that gets shut down. So just as I am building my network, those opportunities aren't there anymore. So BNI has been critical in, quite frankly, helping me stay afloat and staying engaged.
And I hope people don't undervalue a donut visit.
That's right. That's right. It really does make a difference when you show up and you have thought of someone. And I know that when I get something in the mail, a gift card, a Starbucks gift card, a thank you for for helping my client, it makes a difference. It makes me want to work with people again.
In the property and casualty world, that usually includes home and auto.
Right.
We got a couple things going on here. We believe that we're coming into spring. So I've been told. I have a couple of friends with allergies, and one of them started sneezing last week. What do we need to think about with spring rolling around? Anything to do with the house, anything to do with the car, anything regarding our policies?
Two things that I tell people. One, I'll tell people all the time. One, I'll tell people during COVID. Both have to do with your auto insurance. If you are working from home and you're not commuting where you were before, make sure your insurance agent knows it, because your car will then be coded for pleasure, and it's not a regular daily commute. You're not driving it as much. Your car insurance shouldn't cost as much. So make sure that people know that. The other thing is, there's your collision, and then there's your other than collision insurance. Your collision is a deductible that you pay if you are at fault in an accident. You pay a deductible, $250, $500, $1,000 to get your car repaired. What people don't often think about is the comprehensive or other than collision insurance. You can have a deductible as low as $0 if you have a cracked windshield, if you hit a deer, if your car is stolen, if your car is set on fire. You could have little or no deductible there. And I like to just let people know, if you have a cracked windshield, I, as your insurance agent, don't want you driving around with a cracked windshield. So let's look at your other than collision or comprehensive deductible so that you pay nothing out of pocket to get that fixed.
Anything to do with the houses when we go from season to season? We know we're well aware in the wintertime, potentially busted pipes and things like that. But coming out of the cold into the warm, anything we need to do?
I would get your HVAC system inspected if it hasn't been lately. If you are looking to buy or sell, want to make sure that your hot water heater, your HVAC is updated, or at least has been upgraded or replaced within a decent amount of time. These are questions that people are going to ask. What's your roof condition? Because even though that you may not get weight of ice, sleet, or snow on your roof in the springtime, it's a good time to look at that and get it replaced for next winter. That's open up those vents under the house that you close during the winter to keep things warm, things like that.
And one day, I think over the weekend, or no, late last week, it was 75, and today it's going to be 52. And I think we'll play this game for a little while longer, right?
Open the windows and close the windows and open them up again.
Yeah.
Right.
It was funny 2 weeks ago. Most of my wife's side of the family lives in Texas. Two parts of the family in San Antonio, one in Dallas, one in South Padre Island. And they got pummeled with weather, and we didn't get any of that. It's just we just want a little bit of snow. We're home anyways. Like, may as well get some snow, get snowed in, right? But man, oh man, that insurance stuff in Texas, oh gosh.
I can't imagine. I tell you what, I like as a kid, you want a snow day, you want to stay home, you want to play. As an adult, you want the snow to be a little frosty and the roads are not affected.
Yeah, just snow on the yard so my kid can go out and sled, right?
Something pretty.
Oh, all right. You have a pretty cool past. We're going to talk about how a media mogul like yourself gets into the insurance world, but we'll get to that in a minute. You are a proud University of North Carolina graduate.
That's correct.
Is that a family tradition?
My mom and dad met in the big room at the Battle House, which was at the time the Baptist Campus Ministry. I'm going to say 1970, the fall of 1970. 33 years later, my wife and I met in the very same room. I was playing a gig as a singer-songwriter. I did that in college. I was playing for a fraternity barbecue. And my wife, Corey, who's upstairs working from home at the moment, came up to me and said she liked my music. Only person who ever said that. No, that's not true. But yes, so I was a legacy. John Turner Walton Jr. Went to Carolina and met Jane Bowman there, and Turner and Corey met 3 decades later.
Turner is the family name that's passed down to males.
I'm the third.
Okay.
My grandfather, I believe he was named after an uncle, but John Turner Walton Sr. and my dad is Junior. So my granddad is John Turner, or was John Turner. My dad is John. I go by Turner.
Okay. Any plans to pass that on?
Don't think so. I don't.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. It got to be toward the end of my grandfather's life. He died 9 years ago. It got to be kind of a burden because he said, "I want to meet the fourth."
No.
And I don't. I feel like once you get into fourth and fifth,
Yeah.
maybe carve out your own legacy.
Yeah.
My daughter is named in part after her great grandmother Ruth. So we've kind of passed that on a little bit.
Very cool. Yeah. My youngest son, my brother's son, and my grandson all have Murphy as a middle name, which is my mom's maiden name, and happy to carry that on. So I like that. Okay, so let's go back to your grandfather. Did he go to Carolina?
He did not. He did not
Okay.
go to college. He worked at the feed store and was the mayor of Farmville, North Carolina.
Nice. Okay, so that tells me a couple things about him. Is people believe he's very competent, which is good, but he has got to be a good storyteller as a mayor from Farmville.
Oh, he was so funny without even trying. It was effortless, and I tell you, he was. My grandparents died 6 weeks apart. They were married Christmas Day, I think 1941, right before he went to basic training. And he had a heart attack the day of or the day before my grandmother's funeral. And he did not come home between hospitals and nursing homes, but he was 96. She was 92. That was a
Wow.
full life of love. And, for example, I spent some nights with him in the hospital in Greenville. And I know he was wearing that robe that was open at the back. And the nurse, when he got up to use the restroom, the nurse said, "Mr. Walston, you need to, your robe is open in the back." And my granddaddy, as only he could, said, "Nothing interesting, no how." I mean, he was cracking this up well into his 10th decade.
Nice. Was he the mayor while he owned the feed store?
I don't believe so. I think he was retired from work, and he was a farmer. He owned lots of farmland in Pitt County, and I believe, Mike, he was the mayor in the 80s at some point.
My guess is, though, the feed store was the local hub where all the boys came and hung out and told stories. And
he had all kinds of stories. And, and Farmville's not a big town, but it was nice to be out and, go down to a diner or a restaurant and everybody knew your granddad. And therefore, everybody knew about you.
Good news, bad news, right?
That's right.
Did you visit the feed store much?
No. I think it was Jeffrey's seed store. But, by the time I came around, my grandmother and granddaddy had their 2 Lazy Boy recliners matching, parked in front of the TV. And we had a nap in the afternoon and Wheel and Jeopardy back to back at night.
Life was good, wasn't it?
It was, we take so much for granted these days that we have so much entertainment in the palm of our hands. And there's something to be said for knowing that Lawrence Welk comes on at this time.
Yep.
And an appointment television and an appointment, everybody's around the dinner table and there's nothing. Nobody's distracted by a ring or a vibration in their pocket. And, growing to Farmville with my aunts and uncles and cousins, and everybody had their spot around the table. And I don't know that we've lost that, but certainly in COVID, those opportunities haven't been there.
Yep.
But just thinking about, there's so many happy memories of family traditions like that.
Very nice. We are here with Turner Walston, McClintock Insurance Agency. Turner is a member of RDO1, the Chapel Hill Business Leaders. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. One of the things they can help you with, folks, is an email campaign. It can help you set your CRM up, get all your names in there so you can keep in touch with your clients, because if they quit hearing from you, then the phrase out of sight, out of mind comes into play, and they're going to listen to somebody else. So go to oakcitytech.com, tell them you want to set up an email and a newsletter campaign, and they will help you do that. All right, Turner. So your colors bleed Carolina blue. You have, so there's a couple things, and help put them in order for me. Right now, you currently own Argyle Creative Media,
That's right.
which you're the founder. It covers UNC sports. Before that, you were at Tobacco Road Media. Did all this start from when you were an undergrad wanting to cover the UNC teams?
That's a good question. And the answer is no. When I was in college, my experience was, I don't know what I want to do. I didn't make the NBA. I didn't make the basketball team.
Was
As much as
there a
I tried.
thought of making the basketball team at some age?
I tried out for the JV team twice. And after a while, you realize, the best player in my hometown is not on a college basketball team. And nobody's better than BJ Isler, right, when you're growing up. And then you go and you think, well, I'm not as tall as I was in my hometown. The driveway was not exactly the same proving ground as, the McDonald's All-American basketball court. But you do your best, right? And you realize, okay, this is not the path for me, but what else do I enjoy doing? And it's okay. And for me in college, it was, I don't know my major, but let's take the classes that I enjoy. And after a while, your advisor says, well, it turns out your major is communications and performance, and you only need these other classes, and you are good to go. Communications and performance, adapting short stories to the stage, making scenes out of text. And you get to junior and senior year and think, I've taken a lot of these classes. I'm writing songs. I'm doing the singer-songwriter thing. I'm taking short stories, writing songs, and putting them onto the stage, presenting them. And so that's what I was doing. I helped write a musical, wrote some music for a musical based on the book Killer Diller by Clyde Edgerton. And we put that up, and and you get in your head, okay, well, after Swain Hall, surely there's the Fringe Festival in Edinburgh, and after that, off Broadway, probably after that, Broadway. And then, that doesn't work out either. What I did was I took a job at First Citizens Bank so that I could stay in Chapel Hill after graduation and play music in the band, the house band for this musical that I wrote. And after that, after the musical closes and has a decent run, you're still working at the front of a grocery store as a bank teller. So I moved home, worked for the Goldsboro News Argus for about a year and a half, and thought, I don't want to be I enjoy this, but I don't want to do the military agriculture business beat in my hometown forever. Went to East Carolina and got a degree, a master's in exercise and sports science, and had an opportunity. I needed to finish an internship. My wife was in grad school at Carolina. We were about to get married. Opportunity came to intern with Tobacco Road Media. And, another one of those things where I like doing this. Can I make a living? And I did. Worked for Tobacco Road Media for 9 years of that. Then for 2 years, took over the contract myself with Argyle Creative Media to be the post-game columnist for GoHeels.com for football, to cover basically whatever else I wanted to. I went to Philadelphia with men's and women's lacrosse teams. I did baseball on the radio for a year. I wrote post-game columns, followed Carolina men's basketball in the postseason for a couple of seasons. And then, after contract ran out at the end of June of 2017. Opportunity to kind of reevaluate. I got offered the chance to, you can freelance with us, but that does not, that's not enough. Also, my wife is pregnant. Kind of need to figure something else out. Carolina has just won the men's basketball national championship. I got to be there for that, write a post-game column on the official website of Carolina Athletics, which is really cool. But I thought, I've done this. And while it was fun, kind of a natural close to that part of my life. And here we are in insurance.
When you were a student, what was the first event you covered for anybody?
I didn't write as a student. I actually tried to be a columnist with the Daily Tar Heel. I wrote some columns, some sample columns, and never got a call back. I did do intramural sports and won a national championship. Not national championship, an intramural championship with basketball. It's funny, Mike. When last year, when The Last Dance came out about Michael Jordan, I made a 15-minute video called The Last Chance for a friend's 40th birthday. We had been on that intramural team together, and I did interviews with all those team members and put out it's on YouTube, a 15-minute kind of satire based on that intramural championship. Because when you are in a competition like that, it's as important as the NBA finals, Yep. And so we had a lot of fun doing that. When I was a student, I was playing guitar and singing and writing, and then the sports aspect came later. And I forgot to mention, in some jobs, you need experience to get experience, but it's a chicken and egg thing. Who's going to give you that experience? I started a blog when I was working at the First Citizens, just writing about Carolina athletics with no access whatsoever. But in order to get that job at the newspaper and then to get the job as the internship, I use those as writing samples. So you kind of give yourself experience.
And that's actually a very good business example. And today is different than when I grew up. I gave a Toastmaster speech this morning on technology because I went to Tennessee. I was there from 79 to 83. So this was just when technology was coming around. And we had a T1, Amnon, you'll appreciate this. It was a Radio Shack T1000 computer that we had to get a phone line for. So when you had to send a story courtside back to your newspaper, you would put the phone in the coupler and it would send it through, and you would hope that you would not lose the phone line or the phone connection, things like that. But in today's world with technology, Turner, you can start your own something. I mean, there are a few popular singers right now. I think Justin Bieber started on YouTube, didn't he?
I believe that's right. Although I don't know why you're starting to be for the Justin Bieber expert.
No, but your point is just start your own.
Yeah.
And first of all, you get to figure things out undercover. So nobody knows if your first one was so bad and you just remove that from the world, nobody knows that exists. But you're right, though. And we talk to some small business owners that we coach, is how they want to turn their side hustle into a business. So I give you points for starting your own. And I mean, look what it led to.
It's crazy. It's a circuitous path, and we'll get to insurance, I'm sure, in a minute. But one of the most valuable things that I learned too late in life, but not so late, do things for yourself. Mm-hmm. If you want to sing, but don't do it as a means to an end. Sing because you enjoy singing, or play guitar because you enjoy playing guitar, not because it's going to make you money, not because you're going to be a superstar. Because if you're doing it for that end, it can be done. It is going to be a grind and you will burn out. But if you like playing guitar and your goal is to go to the Ryman Auditorium, pick up your guitar and go play Growler Girls. And if you enjoy it, it'll happen. Make your passion into something that you enjoy, not as a means to an end. If you like to play basketball because you like to play basketball, not because you want to be in the NBA.
Well, and going back to the word you just mentioned, the passion, if your vision on your blog was, I'm going to write this first blog and then I'm going to go try to monetize it. Then it becomes a job and all that pressure, the approach is totally different. And you just loved writing your blog because Carolina is a passion of yours.
It's funny you say that because I decided about 10 years ago I wanted to try stand-up comedy. I had never done it, but I always thought of myself as funny. People had told me I was funny. Let's go see. So I'm walking out the door to go to DSI, which used to be in Carborough. And my wife, Corey, says, you're not going to like start touring the country and doing the Tonight Show and all that, are you? Honey, I'm going to do 1 minute of one joke in Carborough. So let's take it one step at a time. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, if that happens, great. But what I want to do is make one person laugh right now. And so baby steps.
What was the joke?
The joke was, so at the time, Beverly Perdue was governor, and there was a hurricane that was coming up the coast. And the hurricane was named Irene. And Bev Perdue said, my mama's name is Irene, so I'm taking this one personally. And I thought, well, it's too bad she doesn't have an uncle named Unemployment or something like that. In other words, it was a tossed off comment for her to say, and that's what comedians do, right?
Did somebody laugh?
Yeah. It actually got me. So I did the audition. It got me the minute at the showcase. I got some laughs, and on the way out, somebody said, "Hey, you were pretty good." And I did stand up 10 or 12 times, and we were standing in the yard Saturday. I hadn't done it since 2013. Okay. We're standing in the yard and a guy's walking his dog. I'm out in the yard with my wife and daughter, and we introduced ourselves. He's walking a cute dog, and he said, this is going to sound random, but I saw you do stand-up 10 years ago in Chapel Hill. And that brought back some memories.
Did you take a victory lap around the yard right there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, whether or not he thought I was funny, he remembered it 10 years later.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, it doesn't matter what he thought. Just the fact
right.
that because if you were horrible, he probably would have led with that.
You're right. You're right. Thank you, Mike.
Singer-songwriter, what's your go-to genre?
Well, to be honest, as much as I enjoy playing with people, the folk, the Americana, the kind of alternative country that I can play with myself and sing alone solo is what I go to, and that's why I tell people I've been playing guitar for almost 25 years now. I'm probably better than I think I am, but not as good as I'd like to be. Mm-hmm. So it's good to pick up and try to learn something, and certainly quarantine has provided those opportunities. But I like Ellis Paul, Jason Isbell, those types.
Is that what was that the first connection to music with you at a young age?
Piano in third grade, down the street, Mrs. Finan, and still play. And then picked up the guitar because I could take it to college. Got my brother and I both got Stratocasters at 15.
Dang.
And the rest is history.
Now, which worked better with the girls, the piano or the guitar?
Guitar is portable, so you can take it across the street to the cafe at Granville Towers. And I'll tell you this, I was 2003 Independent Weekly Magazine best local musician to have a crush on, male. The female was Tiff Merritt. I don't know whatever became of her, but
well, in fairness to you, she has not been on this show, so we'll just leave it at that. When you go do karaoke, is there a go-to karaoke song?
The only time I ever did karaoke was at Charlotte Kids Zone, probably 1993, and my brother and I did Thriller.
Good or bad?
Bad.
Because he can't sing. You're obviously gifted.
When you put Thriller on the karaoke machine, you don't think, well, this is going to go up in the range.
Oh, that's so good. We are here with Turner Walston. property and casualty insurance agent with McClintock Insurance Agency. Turner's also part of RDO1, Chapel Hill Business Leaders. They meet Wednesdays at 10 a.m. in Chapel Hill at the, I always forget this, at the Casual Pint. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. Social media folks, don't know how good you are at posting and coming up with creative things and knowing where to post, but sounds easy, but it's not. You want to put that in the hands of experts because you need consistency so people will find you. They will get your message. Marketing folks tell us we need to see an image or a brand 7 to 8 times before we decide we're going to do business with them. Same thing in social media. So go check out the professionals at oakcitytech.com. I know they'll be able to help you. All right, Turner, one of my favorite questions to ask people is, and your wife's name is Corey, how did you and Corey meet, and do you both tell the story the same way?
No.
Good. I love these stories then.
I was in the Baptist Student Union, Baptist Campus Ministry at Carolina. Not because I was a Baptist, I was raised Methodist, but I knew my parents had met there, and I knew they'd asked me to play on the intramural basketball team. And I thought, well, in fairness, I probably should go to the Wednesday meetings. Corey was in and out. She was studying abroad, so she was kind of a half member. She was dating one guy and then another guy in the group. And we knew each other kind of tangentially. And then after I played that gig, which was April 5th, 2003, we started chatting via AOL Instant Messenger, that long tested, that app that's still out there. And we just started chatting, and I said, I'm about to watch wrestling. I've got some beer and some combos. Do you want to come over? And she said, no.
Oh.
But later, we went to Armadillo Grill and had a nice time. And then a few weeks later, I was playing the North Carolina Pickle Festival as a singer-songwriter. And I invited her to come down to Mount Olive for that. And we just started hanging out and talking and kept up a relationship over while she was in grad school and I was in grad school. And then we got engaged in April 2006 after a spring football game, which is the most exciting thing to ever happen around a spring football game. And the rest is history. We've been married almost 14 years.
Where and when and how did you propose to her?
Proposed at the Old Well in Chapel Hill. I think I had said to her, it's tradition to take a drink before your first day of classes. And this was, of course, in April. And I said, well, you're going to grad school. I'm going to grad school. Let's go by there. I had a friend hiding out in the bushes. I handed her a note that was the lyrics of an Old 97 song. Old 97 is one of my favorite groups. It said, someday somebody's going to ask you a question that you should say yes to once in your life. She read it. I was on my knee, and she said yes. There is I don't know, he may be deceased by now, Mike, but Zeno Spence is a painter from my hometown of Goldsboro. And he had done some portraits of my brother and I and some scenes from around North Carolina. He has one of the Old Well. And my parents bought a print and took the photo that my friend Drew Hardison took and had Zeno paint over his Old Well print, Corey and myself. And that's hanging over the mantle. So that's really special.
Nice. Have you written a song to or for Carrie?
I don't know a Carrie.
I mean, Corey, sorry. That would help, wouldn't it? Too bad I can't edit that out. Corey.
I must have at some point.
Yes.
But nothing comes to mind. And the truth is, when I was doing the singer-songwriter thing in college and lovesick and pining for different girls, then I was at my creative peak as far as songwriting.
Yes.
Because once you get comfortable, there's nothing to draw on.
I have heard songwriters and comics say there must be angst in your life to be talented, to write a good song or be funny. Yes.
Right? There's no creativity in happiness as far as that goes.
No, there is not. Can Corey sing at all?
Oh yeah, she sings beautifully.
All right.
She's often called upon at All Saints United Methodist Church.
Very
She's a very
nice.
good singer.
And your 3-year-old daughter's named Ruth. Have you determined if she carried on that gene?
Uh, she is a singer.
Yeah.
I don't know yet how good she is. Sometimes we'll pick out two, but if Let It Go comes on, she is not only singing but dancing and acting out the moves, and she becomes Elsa, the Snow Queen.
Nice.
So yes, and she, in all seriousness, will sit down at the piano, and of course is not playing a tune, but plays and knows that if I hit a note, this is what happens, and can sing along to what she is playing. Now, the melodies aren't there, but the idea that she's getting it, and it's really, really neat to watch.
Not bad. Not bad. My grandson is 2.5, and he loves, I think it's Harry Styles' song. Is it Watermelon Sugar?
Oh,
Yeah, he digs that. And of course,
okay.
Rocky Top. He knows Rocky Top because I sing it to him, and so does his dad. So, all right, we are in the very beginning of March Madness with the tournament coming up. This starts this weekend. Carolina, a weird season, but they're in and they're playing better. What are you like to watch a Carolina basketball game
um, honestly, I would say before 2007, 2008, I would not be someone you necessarily want to watch a game with. In fact, my grandparents, who I was speaking about earlier, when I had moved back home after college, and we were watching the 2005 national championship game with my parents, and my dad decided to invite his parents over. And my grandmother, bless her heart, kept saying, I just got a feeling Carolina's going to blow it. I just have a feeling. And I finally turned to my grandmother, who was 86 at the time. I
and
said,
who you
Grandmother,
loved? Yes.
I said, certainly you're wiser than me. But have you ever heard that phrase, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all? And she stopped talking. Carolina won. But what happened in the intervening years when I was at the games, when I was working, when I was on press row where you can't emote outwardly, you kind of cut off the tops and the bottoms of your emotional extreme because you have to maintain decorum and you have to go to work. So win or lose, football, men's basketball, I've got to go write a column. Now, since that had happened, and now that I'm out of it, I am in it for those 2 hours or for however long the game is. But after the game is over, my daughter needs me to put her to bed, or I've got to take the dog out, or I've got other things I got to do. And so I would say it's become easier to watch a game with me, but I pull as hard as I can while the game's going on. But after it's done, it's over. And I'll tell you what, I love the people at McClintock, but they are hardcore Duke fans, and they give me a hard time. But the truth is, I don't care as much as they think I do in terms of giving me a hard time. But also, I hope to be there for a long time. At some point, Duke is going to beat Carolina while I'm there, and I don't want to hear it from them. And so I know right now they don't want to hear it from me. So I just kind of stay in my lane.
You are, while we're on the subject of McClintock, you are relatively new there. What was the draw to go
Uh,
work for them?
Don McClintock joined our BNI group as the commercial insurance agent. And me being relatively new in the industry, I thought, is this a threat? Not physical threat. I didn't think I was in danger, but I did write commercial with Farm Bureau, and I know Don writes property and casualty. So we had a socially distanced lunch and just kind of came to an understanding, like, I'm not here to get in your way. You're not here to get in my way. I send business your way if I can. Sometimes it might make sense for you to send business to me. But he told me, he said, I'm looking for a producer, just so you know. Um, and this was almost a year ago. And I thought, okay, well, that's really nice to hear. but I am where I am. But a few months later, as COVID hit, I kind of figured out where I was in the pecking order, not only in the office, but in terms of like Farm Bureau. If I can borrow a sports term, floods the zone. They have agents all over the state, almost 900 of them. So any one agent or one of seven in an office can kind of be lost in the shuffle. And I kept thinking back to, well, Don said he's looking for a producer. So I had more conversations with him. Is this still something that you are looking for? And he said, absolutely. And me, I don't know if many of your viewers will have remembered R.C. Coburn. He was the manager at Farm Bureau that hired me in 2018. He passed away July 30th, 2018. So I got about 5 months with him as the guy who hired me and the mentor. And I still needed that. And I didn't have that for about 2 years. And I saw an opportunity, and I told Don, I was honest with him. I said, I still need coaching. I still need mentoring. I still need investing in. I still need somebody to knock on the door every morning like RC did and say, what you got? What's going on? Because I don't know what I have or don't have sometimes. And I don't know what I don't know. And I saw an opportunity to get a mentor, and it's been really fantastic.
Would you equate that to life in Farmville? Smaller, more personal, good and bad, because like I said, everybody knows you, but everybody knows your business.
Honestly, I don't know yet. I know that, like I said, Farm Bureau has hundreds of agents across the state, and it's right for a lot of them. It wasn't right for me. I know that, and I was telling you before we started, Farm Bureau these are the lanes, 1, 2, 3, and your customer fits one of these 3. When you go independent, things can really open up, and you can really drill down and customize a product for a customer. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the other approach, but for me, as someone who, to take it back to sports writing, would take a story, a game, figure out how to put it on the page so that it can relate to people. I really like the problem solving aspect of, this is the home that I'm buying. This is the date. These are my cars. What can you do for me? I'm still learning people's stories, what's important to them, putting it on a different sheet of paper that makes it digestible for them.
And speaking of stories in your sports life, one of your bios said that one of your favorite stories you covered were the 2016 Carolina men's and women's lacrosse teams. Why was that?
Well, I'll tell you what, it kind of goes back to what I was saying about, watching a game with me. One of the things that became fun for me was cheering for a Carolina team beyond March, when the baseball team in the mid 2000s was going to the College World Series so much. That was really fun. That took us into June, another Tar Heel team to cheer for. When I got on campus and was working, I fell in love with the tennis teams. Super competitive. Basically, any team that you go see at any one of our local universities, they may not be the best in the country, but they are going to be good, and you're going to see good competition. Men's and women's lacrosse were there, both in Philadelphia for the Final Fours, and they won the national championship, the women's on one day, the men's on the next. And here was a sport that I did not grow up with, but learned a lot about, and could see the passion and the skill. And the way Carolina beat Maryland, the men, in overtime was incredible. I believe the women they also beat Maryland. I believe that Maryland team had been undefeated going into that national championship game. And so that gave me another opportunity on 4 days for 4 games to write 4 different stories for sports that are a little bit different between the men and women's games, and also are not sports that I grew up in, but I know what competition is, and I know what passion is, and I know what feelings I have in watching my team and my alma mater. And one thing that I got to be good at, as being on the official website, is I could be a fan. I have to control myself in the press box, but my readers are Carolina fans. And so being grown up and an alum, can relate to them at that level. And that got to be really fun. My favorite story I ever wrote was probably the least favorite game of a Carolina fan, which was the 2016 national championship game. Carolina lost to Villanova. And I was able to put emotions on the page. And Mike, I had followed the Tar Heels from Raleigh to Philadelphia to Houston that year. And one of the things you learn as a sports writer, particularly covering your favorite team, is you can't, if you go and it's win or lose and the weekend is lost, if they do, then you haven't learned anything. You haven't grown. What'd you go for? I went to see a play on the off day, Peter and the Starcatcher at the Walnut Street Theater in Philadelphia. And I took something from that and brought it back a week later. At the end of the play, Wendy says to Peter, "It's supposed to hurt. That's how you know it meant something." When Carolina loses that game on the last second shot and it hurts, it's supposed to, because it meant something. And that was my favorite column I ever wrote.
Yeah. And it's what I love about Southern sports. It's passionate, it's personal, and I would not have it any other way. Real quick before we sign off here, give me a tip. Somebody wants to become a songwriter. What's one or two things for them to do or try?
I went to the songwriting retreat with Ellis Paul, who's a great songwriter, as not enough people know about. And he had a songwriting retreat in Cape Cod, and he has two things to do. One is unconscious trusting. Wake up, put pen to paper, and just write. Set a timer for 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes. Just pen to paper, just write. Let it spill out of your brain. Unconscious trusting. And then conscious editing. So look back at what you wrote. Maybe there's a phrase, maybe there's something that you repeated that you liked. Pick up and pull that out, and then build something around that. I need to do more of that because I like to get back to performing. But that's one of the things that has stuck with me.
So unconscious trusting.
Conscious trusting.
I like that.
Conscious editing.
All right. I like that. So we know somebody watching the show here is going to write a blog in the next few days. Once they write it, what should they do with it?
Nothing. They should just write. Just write, like we talked about earlier. Just write for yourself. And when you get something that you will like and be proud of, then tell people about it. But I've got a blog, turnerwalston.com. I'm not telling people about it, but I'm just writing for myself. And if people like it, great. If they don't, that's okay too. If they never find it, that's okay. But just a little outlet for yourself. Let it be that first before it's for anybody else.
Very nice. Turner Walston, McClintock Insurance Agency. We've been putting a phone number up here. What's the best way? An email, website, or is phone number best?
Phone number is good. Turner@McClintockInsuranceAgency.com is another good one. I look forward to hearing from people. This has been a really fun journey, and I've taken a circuitous route, like I said, to insurance, but I really do enjoy it and problem solving for people.
Well, good. We appreciate having you on the show. Go check out his website and the phone number. And if you want to meet some good local small business owners, please go visit his Wednesday 10 a.m. chapter in Chapel Hill. Turner, good luck with everything. Good luck with your Tar Heels. Good luck with Ruth, and good luck with stand-up open mic night, one night that comes to you out of the blue.
Mike, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful journey down memory lane, and also bringing us to the present day in insurance. This has been really fun.
Well, good. Glad to have you on, and we'll see everybody next time on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.